I'm like, okay. So then I go to Switzerland. 2013.
What?
June, I go to Switzerland. But I needed to go to Switzerland that year.
Why?
So at the end of 2012, going into 2013, remember I told you we did the gig that had like Liquid Deep, the gig for halaiki ya watu. And Kampala was off the ground. And I remember I went on because I used to be the MC. But I also should say this. I think that the MC not to ask guys, are you having fun? Let's be hype. I'm like, what do you mean? They came. First they came. Then they're drinking. The music is good. Of course, they're having fun. Don't talk to them. Just leave them alone. Interrupt them for very short minutes to only do the following thing. Make the announcement for where the first aid is, where the ambulance is, where the toilets are. If you've lost, where the lost and found is, because now we know this is the moment that you guys are going to lose your car keys.
Yes.
Please put them in your handbag. The next artist, you read their profile and you leave. Your job is not there to be
You're
like...
a transitioner.
So that's how it used to be and has always been. And now we've even found a way to eliminate the role. Now we do it like BTs. You pre-record things.
Yeah.
And this really helps things to move on time. And all sponsors, you get your mention how you wanted your mention. Sawa. So we don't have the fight for. But why did you talk about that person for 1 minute and me only said for 1 second? Wazi, he's a bro.
Yeah.
So now...
C versus C, corporate versus creative.
Telling you. So now, as I'm on stage putting on Liquid Deep, I get this really sort of strong, clear intuition. I established in episode 1 that I hear things.
Yeah.
I got a very strong and clear intuition that was like everything that you had accomplished. It was everything you wanted to do with blankets you have done. From this moment, anything you do is repetition. You are free. So, and I even have a picture and I look a bit dazed because I remember being like, am I high? I'm not high. I've had this experience many times before. I just knew. I knew it. And then, and it's normally pure silence. You hear the story, then the life continues. So I knew that, and I remember going then into the audience, halaiki. And I went and stood next to my friend Thimba in Talash and Eric Thimba.
Mook.com. By the way, if you haven't gotten the album, Mook.com.
I remember Thimba being like, yo, this thing that you've built, I want to build something of my own like this.
What?
At that gig.
That's crazy.
He probably had been feeling that thing for a long time. But at that gig, he said it. But that gig was crazy. Even if you were in the audience, the euphoria, everything, I can't explain. That day was a day engineered in heaven. Like when you have perfect weather, then like it's Liquid Deep, as in check BBM.
Yeah.
Okay? Like when liquid, as in inside, like come on.
That was still.
Thank you. It came out last month and now they are here. You are dead. We were dead, bro. We were so happy.
She writes from nowhere. Her time is cool. Or from a lecture. When she I got a number, but we still chat, exchanging pictures and sending trash. But to my surprise, what do I see? Her status says that she playing me.
Everyone, hey, Nairobi was happy. Damn, I should have also said that those blankets here, we used to, the after party was at Voila. Now we had moved.
So now you moved from
Mercury?
Mamba, yeah?
That's in Mamba,
Mamba,
but now the after party after blankets, we used to go to Voila.
Over them Gong Road.
Okay, there was another Italian guy called Alex. Mwah, God bless your soul, Alex. Alex was lit all the time. Alex, like, this festival is wonderful, Muthoni. Okay, listen, Sandra. Okay, Sandra, you listen. We make a good deal. You bring the party here, you make the money on the bar, you make the money on the food. If you want to charge the... we were like, bro, we like that kind of shit. So you understand the audience is ours. So we had steak at the bar. We used to make money from the party at Vola.
No way.
Yes. That's why we left Mercury. We're just like,
You're making chums on chums.
Arthur, we always bring you the after party. We've never made any money from this after party. Nah, bro. Thanks.
Nah,
brah. And now anyway, kutoka Mamba.
It's just
staggering distance.
Yes.
Niapo, Vola, guy.
So how was
the
he making
people
money?
of my generation.
What was he making money from?
So
you're making a
Alex is not greedy.
Oh,
His thing is, if you weren't here on this Sunday night, I wouldn't have made sales anyway.
Hey.
So you have brought the audience, right? And your audience is a quality audience. More importantly, your audience have been drinking all day. So they're coming here
to continue
to add alcohol that they don't need into their body. I like them. Drunk people are going to make bad decisions. They're going to come here and decide, now we need a bottle of Cavassier, which is exactly what people would do. I swear. I want in the comment section, Aki, please, this one I'm asking, please just push. And guys, if ever in your life you missed a whole Monday because of Vala, I just want to see you in my comments, kindly. Damn, those were the best days of our lives. Because now, us guys who work at the gig, we used to catch up with the gig after the last artist is on stage. Because you're working.
Yep.
So when the last artist is on stage, like Mina, who was working in artists, I have a small sigh of relief. So I just need to make sure that they get into their vans and on their way to the hotel. And my job for the day is done. Sam, his shift will end when the last person when we close the site, because you have to close the site.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
So now our friends used to be the first part of the after party because they understood that us guys have to remain to close site. So guys will leave. You know, us guys are closing site. It also means that, like, if you have artists who are not from Kenya, they've gone to the hotel to shower and to change
before the
after party. So us guys and the artists would kind of come at the same time. Okay, ma VIP. By that time, hata watu hawajali. Venye watu wako kwa sherehe. Zile visanga na vituko. Because now, my blankets was from the last artist. That's when now I'd come to blankets.
Yes.
From the last artist, now to the after party. That is how I saw blankets for very many years in my life.
I get it.
I would hear blankets, but to actually be at blankets, when you're workers, of course, you have to walk through. So then vendors, all this. Anyway, so I don't know. I just needed to segue that. It was just it was the best times of our lives. Yes. So now, so at the beginning of 2013, I had this intuition that I needed to, like, go back into artistry, but I didn't know now what to do, because I'm like, I don't have producers, God. I don't have like, what do you mean? So what I have is this blanket thing, and I'm gonna keep it going. By the time we're even coming to the end of 2012, that year we had worked a whole year with SAB Miller. That year we had it done even more, because now we used to bring artists. I think we brought an artist almost every month, and then we would every other month, and we would make them do like workshops with Kenyan artists, not workshops, but actually co-created.
Yeah.
So they come, you spend 48 hours in studio together, work on a couple of tracks or polish some tracks. So like Tumi and Unasi did something together.
Oh, even this guy.
Aaron Rumbui did with Claire Phillips from SA.
Nice.
Yeah, we did very many nice combinations.
Was it you guys who made Fee? No, it wasn't you. Okay.
No. Fee is much later in life.
Okay, yeah.
So. She's amazing, though. Anyway, so now by the time we're coming to the end of 2012, Blankets and Wine is a truly cultural. At the beginning of 2013, it's truly now it is no longer about music and musicness. It is also now about like lifestyle, culture. It's now part of a staple. It's the staple of our generation.
Yep.
For the good and for the bad, right? Because it's during that time, I want to say that 2012 going in 2013, that we started to get the sense that in fact, this thing of bringing artists was doing more damage than harm, than good, because what the radio had understood is that the purpose of the show is the foreigner. Do you remember why I told you why we had brought them in the first place?
Yep.
Yeah, but we'd also learned a tough lesson from the year before with KCB. That year, the shilling went into free fall. In 2011, when we worked with KCB, we negotiated the contract in Kenya shillings, but we were importing people who bill in dollars.
Yeah.
When Uhuru Kenyatta was the Minister of Finance, the Kenyan shilling free falled. The rumor was that the shilling was free falling because of the election the next year, so we need to raise money for elections. The year before elections, economies usually.
That's what usually happens.
Okay, so that money can enter.
Not economies.
Not the Kenyan politics does that to the Kenyan economy. So by the time we're coming to the end of the year, our money was almost at half the value. So we're like, now we know. Always negotiate in dollars. Always negotiating in the currency that you're importing in.
Yeah.
And then make sure that your contract is for a year. Because once you've contracted for the year, once it's game short, once you put the consumer behavior in motion, you can't change it. So have a tight contract. So by the time we finished the year at the end of 2012 at 2013, when I'm getting this premonition, we're in a really strong but exhausting position.
In fact,
it's a very expensive gig at this point.
You've been talking about Blankets and Wine, and we've been hearing about the struggles that it has taken to put this. But what I've just heard you also saying right now from the business, the polymath, the business angle of that, is that business is tough.
Of course. It has nothing to do with you that the shilling can lose value. That has nothing to do with you. That's a situation. Corona, that has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. Yo.
So business resilience. What else can your business do? And our business wasn't very resilient because we were only doing this event and the one in Uganda. If something happens in Kenya that upsets the way things happen in Uganda, it could upset. So it was difficult.
And were you making profits?
Yeah, with the sponsorship money in this, especially in that year, we were able to make profit. We really were, because we had become good at our contracts with suppliers. We had understood that if you negotiate long-term contracts, as long as your money is steady, you're likely to get a really good deal. We were good with the people that we were working with. We had understood now, like how to build good models for vending revenue.
Yes.
So additional revenue, VIP service revenue.
You
So
had
we
entered
found
partnerships like the South African one that you're saying with the
South Africa Airlines, so you can save money off your core costs. So there was some, I would say our business intelligence was pretty good. The only thing I would say we weren't using as effectively as we could have was our data. We were using it, but it wasn't, when I look back, we could have done so much more with our data. And I don't mean selling it. I mean just like there was more business
tweaking it to
intelligence
make it
that we could have acquired from the data.
The reason why I asked that question is the audience may not know this, but sometimes you see so many people in the audience and you're like, wow, these guys have made money.
Yeah.
1,000 shillings.
Yeah, people used to tell me that. People used to actually accuse me. That's when I also discovered people don't like it. When they've come up with you, right? Because they came to Tayana and they've been with you, they've been with you, they've been with you. There's a bunch of people who feel like you owe us. If it wasn't us, you wouldn't have been here. We are the ones who told Akina Nani, Akina Nani, Akina Nani. So now they've seen you from, driving. Now our company can afford a Pro Box, which I promptly colored pink. So now we have our pink Pro Box, the Pink Panther. So first they're insulting you because they're like, what are you doing driving a Pro Box? And two, this is a sentence I used to hear all the time. So you're doing well, eh? So you're doing well. Like that. That's how Kenyans, there's just a crew of niggas. That's how so you're doing well. Eh? Even when you go to boardrooms, but you guys are doing well. Eh? It's an accusation. It's like, you guys are the ones who make all the money. Yes, you're doing well. So you're doing so well. So why do you have a Pro Box? It's very weird. The other thing is, there's people who came for this thing for whatever they imagined would be their social currency. They've been seen in a magazine, or it's being talked about on Capitol. It's where all like the cool people go. So then they're not even coming for music. So now then they don't even understand. So then they think, so they also don't know what to make of me. Because you're a musician, but you're not quite, we're not quite popular. And you are looking rather disappointing if you're a socialite like us. So who are you? Blankets really showed me people. Like when I'd walk through whatever, just listening, even sometimes pretending that I'm talking on the walkie-talkie, just to hear what people are saying, just dropping. It meant so many things to so many different people. So many people got engaged at Blankets. At Mamba is where we had the person for the first time who went on stage to like propose. Then, that was the second time. I forget. Sorry, guys. In Diani 2010, we had from our crew. Yeah. They got engaged. So it meant so many things depending on who you are. When those Mamba, they always used to be like this crew of Karen Wahindis. Them used to come to do their koroga, so they couldn't understand us saying you can't bring your open fire here. So every gig, like I'd have to sit with them and like knock a whiskey to explain, no, the rule hasn't changed, you guys. Even this month you can't do it like that. You go over there to the grill. But they used to come with everything, so we convinced them eventually go and set up your grill next to the other grills.
Yes.
It was very interesting. Them, they didn't come for the music. Them, they came for an outing, a day to be in vibes. There's music in the background, but we are here just catching our cup. We experienced people. Some people came to fall in love. Some people came to look for, because then they would imagine that there's like some rich people. It was everybody came for their own experience. And there were ones who came for music. So from the beginning, they're right in front of the stage, dancing to every... It was really interesting. Festivals. You create a space for everybody to co-create their own experience.
Hey, nugget crotch. That's a good one. Okay.
Then you wait for Monday to be told everything. you're so stupid. The parking, the toilets, disgusting. I'm never coming again. I hate you so much. The noise. Like, whoosh, tough. Next
that's-
month, see you.
but that's what I'm calling you're right about this polymath thing, because the fact that I am shocked to hear that the event is still going on till today, and that has nothing to do with eventing, that has nothing to do with music, that has to do with entrepreneurship. That's a serious backbone that you have, and I'm glad we sort of segued for me to just hear some of these conversations about business and profit.
Yeah.
I've seen so many gigs where it's packed and guys are like, Yanni, thank God we've broken even today. But I'm like, but the place is fully packed. It's like, yeah, but we got no sponsors.
Yeah, lack of sponsorship is a big killer. Sponsorships really, really, really changes your profitability.
Yep.
And at the scale at which we were operating at that time, it could not have happened without somebody's money. So I definitely think that, music and sponsors is something that will always go together.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
Okay, no.
It was
Don't
like
worry.
an internalized burp.
I'm a cat there, don't worry.
So music and sponsorship always go together. But you should build a model that first provide the thing and let sponsorship add.
It's true.
Don't let sponsorship be the reason why you can do in the first place. If you need to have somebody else's money to do it, then you don't have your business model right.
That's true.
Yeah. If it works as a seed, it will work as a tree. But if you want to start as a tree, which is the thing that we watch, then over the years, people try to be us. So you take that picture that you see in there.
The event that you've come for, not knowing this is
You don't see the back end.
number 20.
Yeah, and you don't even know like how we balance money between this month where we made, this month where we lost, this month where we are losing value of money. So actually we are finishing the year in negative. This negotiation with this sponsor, you don't see the back end. You're just like, and in your mind, it's a big event, and I'm just like, no, big does not mean better. So if you asked us, it was like big was a big problem, like being able to predict like just how much like stuff to provide. Anyway. So I spent, and then in 2013, I get the intuition that I should be doing music, but I feel I don't have the answer for that. A very close friend of ours dies that year, and in May, and it was just so devastating. And now feeling with every blanket that I am trapped in this shit. So now we've moved to Carnivore. Carnivore is the only place we've never had problems with toilets. I thank the Lord for Carnivore. And Tayana and Carnivore. And Hillcrest. Tayana, Carnivore, and Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Hillcrest, we had school toilets.
Yeah.
Carnivore has built out the infrastructure for eventing.
Yep.
And Tayana, we were few. You could use the toilets that were there. But the Mamba years, we've had problems with toilets. Even here at Ngong Race Course, it's a very difficult one to solve.
Yeah.
For the scale at which we are without a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Not a lot of money, but a good amount of money relative to our income.
Yes.
I will come to that.
Yep.
The other thing about doing it now at this monthly, by the end of 2012, we have cash reserves, which was very helpful, because 2013 was a very difficult year because it was an election year. Yeah, 2013 was the election year. Yes. The first time Uhuru Kenyatta became president. No, that was 2013. 2013.
2020. Yeah. 2022 is when we're going back to elections, so minus 10 years.
Yeah, I'm right. So that election was a difficult election. So what corporate Kenya does, like the rest of Kenya, is you wait and see. So no one says yes and no one says no. Okay? So, but now the consumer expects an event every month, and the whole of 2012, you've given them an artist every other month, every month. So now us guys expect this thing of you guys. That is a year where I can say I was
50-50
transitioning, because me, I wanted to go back into now music, and I don't know. There were some decisions when I look back, I'm like, what if we would have just been like, you guys, we don't have sponsors, so now just wait. I don't know what we could have done, but we ended up busting quite a bit of our reserves, keeping up for the Joneses. I was growing more and more resentful of this gig, because I had now started to see that the reason why people come is for this artist who is coming from abroad. So I remember being at Blankets again, watching people and seeing that the Kenyan artist is now the opening act for the main event.
Which was never the plan.
That was not our intention. But we should own, because we should then, there's sometimes in 2012, I remember trying, again,
mix the
Sam and
number.
Sandra agreed to, instead of having, let's say, for example, I'm trying to remember which show that was, where Macadam was the headliner. He was, the headliner was the person who played last. And I can't remember which artist it was. It was someone pretty popular. And we were like, okay, let's make a show that Macadam can hold his own at home. And it didn't quite work. How, at this point, the way the conversation was being framed, it was like this place where you go to have a good time, you party, and hey, guess this artist who from wherever. Right? And us guys we're watching the conversation, we're not entirely comfortable with it. We raise it, but not significantly enough to be like, we're gonna break up if we don't stop talking like this. Because we're like, we also do need the inflow of revenue to keep this thing, because it's just growing and growing and growing and growing. Anyway.
Why did you personally receive questions from the local artists about what it is you're doing? Was there a resent happening?
There was definitely a resentment from some of the Kenyan artists. So I have to be very clear. They can come here and defend themselves. Or not defend, they can come here and bear me witness. There was never a bad standard. The Blanket standard was already a good standard.
Yes.
Actually, I take that back. Was already a quite good standard. Okay? Because I toured and I had seen. So we had provided. Our standard was already here. It's just that now, for example, say Lyra, when she's here, she'll be like, this is my rider, this is the da-da-da-da-da-da. Very few Kenyan artists had ever given us a rider. Us, because we knew that artists should have hospitality, we would provide it anyway. And based on what we could, where we could get sponsors, but usually we provided it anyway.
I get it.
Right? And it went becoming better and better. But now if this artist comes and says, me, my rider has we will provide it. So I can imagine that there was a feeling that we are giving to the foreigner because they are better than the Kenyan. Not at all. You didn't even have a rider.
You didn't ask.
Not even you didn't ask. You didn't even give us a rider. Even the sound. We are the ones who told you there is this and this is it. Okay? So that's a thing that Kenyan artists should not trip about.
That's true.
A lot of the Kenyan artists, so that I would say that would be the distinction.
Okay.
Then also because generally we didn't bring people unless they were pedigree artists, right? So whatever level that you are in, but you are at the top of the range in your level, right? An A1, right? So even if you're a niche, you're the niche A1, right? So their pricing was in dollars, which obviously would be significantly higher than anyone who's quoting in Kenya shillings. So there were some moments. So it wasn't, I wasn't friends with artists for many years, because then artists, they wanted this thing and they saw the value of this thing and they really enjoyed the experience of the thing. It was professional, it was done well. They got the things that we wanted. But in that moment, I was the promoter.
I get, you're not your fellow artist.
I'm not a fellow artist.
Yeah.
So even these artists who are coming, I'm also a promoter. I'm not an artist.
I get. Polymath. Polymath, it's another hat you're wearing.
Those are the downsides. So in fact, I remember that time, I think it was 2014, Willie Paul called me to tell me, who did he want to do a studio session with? I don't know, AKA Wizkid, some years. And I was just like, it's not the way it works, really. I promise you. I'm not even kaziaing you. This is not me being like, don't do it. Like, nah. What all of you guys don't know is a lot of those artists used to get here, buzzer beating. They'd get here on a Saturday night from South Africa on SAA. They eat, they sleep, they do sound check in the morning, they go, they shower, they come for the gig, they go, they shower, they do the after party. The next day they do a press briefing at 10, at 4 p.m., at 2 p.m. they leave the hotel.
Airport.
1 p.m. they leave the hotel because their flight is at 4 p.m. There's so many times they'd even fly in on the morning of. So I didn't even have that moment to be like, So that's why for us in 2012, it was such a coup to be able to say, to come to this gig, you must be agreeing that you're going to come and spend 48 hours in the studio with another artist. And there were many artists who we didn't get because of that clause. I just like, no, I don't have this kind of time to give to you.
What?
Thursday's a gig night, Friday's a gig night, Saturday's a gig night. And for me to come to Nairobi it means, and then you have to pay what I should have earned on Friday or on Saturday. It's not that easy the way people think it is.
But also, let me commend you. You put that in the clause. For you, it was so important for this vision of collaboration, Africa Unite, as you are saying, one Africa without borders, get to know each other.
Yeah.
That you put it in the clause.
Yeah.
For you, it wasn't just
the
about
artists
this.
of 2012 had to do that.
This final gig that we are going to do.
No. For us, it was a beginning. So now let's continue. Right?
Have another rose,
Yeah.
Muthoni.
That's
deep.
There was vision.
Let guys know.
So now without that in 2013, I was just like, we have just gone back to entertaining the Kenyan middle class. So now I started to see them as the Kenyan middle class. I started to see the disregard for Kenyan artists. I started to see, now we had Carnival. Carnival is a good venue. Carnival is a good venue.
Yep.
It makes it logistically very much easier. The toilets are A1 security. It's a good venue.
Yeah.
So I feel like in Carnival is when we saw Kenya. In Carnival I observed, but maybe it's also because in my mind I was like, I'm meant to be exiting. But we don't have sponsors. The gig is still going on. I've gone to Switzerland. I'm grieving. Anyway, now Swizo.
Swizo. Okay, let's go.
Enter Swizo.
Yeah, you've been hooked for
Sasa nimeingia Switzerland.